You know, we do it all day, every single day, without giving it a second thought. But breathing? It's one of the most complex, most incredible processes our body performs. Today, we're going to follow the amazing, unseen journey of a single breath, from the air all around you, right down to the very core of your cells. So, let's trace the path.
Just think about that for a second. Over 17,000 times your chest is going to rise and fall today. Every single one of those breaths is a mission-critical delivery of oxygen that fuels, well, everything you do. So, where does it all go, and how in the world does it get there?
To find out, we're going to shrink ourselves way, way down and follow one single heroic molecule of oxygen. We'll track its path from the moment you inhale through this ridiculously complex highway system all the way to its final destination. And then, we'll follow the waste products on their journey all the way back out.
Okay, so our journey starts here, in what you could call the conducting part of the system. This is the physical superhighway that's designed to get air from the outside world deep into your lungs, all while cleaning it, warming it, and getting it ready for the delicate tissues inside. And man, this highway is complex. Our little oxygen molecule gets pulled in through the nose, travels down the pharynx, zips past the larynx, that's your voice box, and enters the main pipeline, the trachea. From there, the path just explodes into this branching network you see, going deeper and deeper into the lungs.
So that main windpipe, the trachea, splits into two big tubes called bronchi, one for each lung. And just like the branches of a tree, these divide again and again and again into smaller and smaller bronchioles, until, finally, our oxygen molecule arrives at its destination, a tiny little air sac called an alveolus.
And this is where the magic really happens. Our oxygen molecule has reached the end of the line for the airway, but its journey? Oh, it's far from over. It's now at the site of what we're calling the Great Exchange, where it has to make the leap from the lung into the bloodstream.
So how does it cross over? The answer is just a fundamental rule of physics: partial pressure. The easiest way to think about it is like a river current. Gases always want to flow from an area where there's a lot of them, high pressure, to an area where there's not so many of them, low pressure. It's a one-way street.
And this table just makes it crystal clear. Just look at the numbers for oxygen, or O2. The pressure inside those little air sacs is 104, but in the blood that's just arriving at the lungs, it's only 40. That huge difference creates this powerful, invisible push that just shoves our oxygen molecule right into the blood. And at the exact same time, look at the carbon dioxide, CO2. It's flowing out for the exact same reason, just in reverse. And get this entire exchange happens in a fraction of a second. Why? Because the barrier between the air you just breathed and your blood, this diffusion membrane, is astonishingly thin. We're talking way less than a millimeter. The whole system is built for pure speed and efficiency.
All right, our oxygen molecule has successfully crossed over. It's in the blood. But now it needs a ride. Its next job is to get from the lungs to every single tissue, every single cell in your body that needs it.
And that ride is provided by this absolute superstar molecule, hemoglobin. It's packed inside your red blood cells, and it's basically the body's dedicated oxygen taxi service. Each one of these hemoglobin molecules can grab onto and carry 4 molecules of oxygen at a time. And is it an efficient taxi service? You bet it is. A whopping 97% of all the oxygen that's transported in your blood is carried this way, latched securely onto hemoglobin. The other tiny 3% just dissolves directly into the blood plasma.
But here's the really clever part. Hemoglobin isn't just good at picking up oxygen, it has to know exactly when and where to drop it off. And that relationship is shown by something that sounds complicated but isn't, the oxygen dissociation curve. All it really shows is how sticky hemoglobin is for oxygen in different parts of your body.
So let's just boil it all down. It's a simple two-part mission. In the lungs, where there's tons of oxygen, hemoglobin becomes super sticky. It has a high affinity, and it just grabs those oxygen molecules. But then when it travels to your muscles or other tissues where oxygen is low and carbon dioxide is high, it becomes way less sticky, and it releases our oxygen molecule right where it's needed most. It's a perfect delivery system.
So, our oxygen molecule has been delivered. Mission accomplished. But the story's not over. That cell has now produced a waste product, carbon dioxide. And just like the trash at your house, it needs to be taken out. It's time for the return trip.
Now, you might think carbon dioxide just travels back the same way oxygen arrived, but it's a bit more complicated. A small amount does hitch a ride back on hemoglobin, but the vast majority, a full 70%, gets converted into something else, called bicarbonate, to make the trip through the blood way easier. This super fast conversion is all thanks to a high-speed enzyme called carbonic anhydrase. Think of it like a worker on a factory assembly line. Down at the tissues, it rapidly packs the CO2 into its bicarbonate form. Then, when that blood gets all the way back to the lungs, that same enzyme reverses the process, unpacking the CO2 just in time for you to breathe it out. It's incredibly elegant.
Now, maybe the most amazing part of this entire epic journey is that it's all happening automatically, right now. You don't have to think about any of it. So who or what is the unseen conductor coordinating this whole symphony? Well, the command center is tucked away in your brainstem. A region in the medulla sets your basic steady in and out breathing rhythm. Then another area in the pons fine-tunes that rate, speeding it up or slowing it down as needed. And finally, you've got this special chemosensitive area that acts like the ultimate sensor, constantly monitoring your blood for changes.
And here is a wild, counterintuitive fact. You'd think the main reason you feel the urge to breathe is because you're running out of oxygen, right? Nope. The primary trigger that tells your brain, hey, take a breath, is actually the buildup of carbon dioxide. Your body is way more sensitive to getting rid of the waste than it is to taking in new fuel.
This whole intricate system is incredibly robust. But it's not invincible. When things go wrong, we see conditions like asthma, where those airways become inflamed and that highway becomes hard to travel, or emphysema, where those delicate alveolar walls, the site of the great exchange, are actually destroyed, reducing the surface area for gas to get across. And the source material is incredibly direct about one of the main culprits for this kind of permanent damage. The text states, and I'm quoting here, one of the major causes of this is cigarette smoking. It's just a stark reminder of how fragile this amazing system really is. So from a simple inhale, to a complex highway, to a chemical exchange deep within your cells, all of it perfectly orchestrated by your brain without you lifting a finger. It's a journey that happens thousands of times a day without you ever noticing. So the next time you take a nice, deep breath, maybe just for a second, you can appreciate the incredible, microscopic journey that's just getting started.